Thousands of rockets launched from Gaza into Israel sent millions of Israelis running to shelters off and on throughout the day. Adele Reamer, a resident of Kibbutz Nirim near the Gaza border, describes what happened.
After at least 7 hours of being locked down in our safe rooms, the IDF finally arrived and started going through the kibbutz, house by house, bush by bush. They have to clear everything out.
At a party in the forest near Gaza, Hamas gunmen on motorcycles opened fire in all directions. Several dozen Israelis were taken hostage and brought to Gaza, including women and young children. A spokesman for the Islamist Hamas movement said the Israelis are being hidden in underground tunnels inside Gaza. A Hamas spokesman said the attack was in response to what it called the desecration of the Al-Aqsa Mosque and an increase in Jewish settler attacks on Palestinians. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned Hamas that it will pay a price.
Since the morning, Israel has been at war. Our first goal is to clean the area from those who have infiltrated it and to return security and quiet to the areas that were attacked. The second goal, at the same time, is to exact a huge price from the enemy.
Israel launched a series of airstrikes on Hamas targets in Gaza and cut electricity to the densely populated.
Israel is at war, and as the retaliation continues on both sides, we get you minute-by-minute update. Hamas militants caught Israel off guard on Saturday morning. Besides the barrage of rockets fired at Israelis, many claimed to have been kidnapped and relocated in Gaza as prisoners of war. As for the latest, Israel says Hamas until now has taken over 100 such prisoners. Comparing the present attack to 9/11, Israel's Defense Forces spokesperson hinted and said that the missing number of civilians Israeli military is in large numbers, and their official toll will be revealed officially in the coming days.
There is a very large amount of Israeli civilians and soldiers held inside Gaza. And that number, I think, in the coming days will be revealed officially, but at this time I can only say that we are talking about many, many Israelis.
Now let's take you to the day of the attack. The visuals on your screens show Hamas rockets launched at Israel. This footage is from a nature party near Gaza where hundreds can be seen attending a music festival. This location became one of the first targets of Palestinian gunmen, and as the visuals show, Hamas militants can be seen paragliding into Israel as they launch a devastating ground invasion and air assault on the country. Then, almost after 30 minutes of the airstrike, these attendees were recorded running as Gaza militants fired at them. At least 260 people died at this concert.
Over there was a shooting at the kibbutz in the direction of Akim. I think it's another hour's walk. We've been walking already for 3 hours. I hope I'll be able to say there was a happy ending at the end of this story. This was the scariest thing we've ever experienced in our lives. I hope the end will be a good ending. It was an excellent festival until Hamas attacked.
And the state of war began. Hamas militants came in through sea, land, and ground and attacked Israel residents in multiple cities, even kidnapped many. On such harrowing video shows a distraught young Israeli woman being driven away on a motorbike by fighters, while her partner is being marched away by 2 men. Israeli media reported that the couple had been attending the same music festival near Gaza. Until date, both of them continue to remain missing. Another disturbing video shows a barefoot woman with arms tied behind her back being dragged from the back of a black 4x4 vehicle by armed men and then bundled into a back seat of the vehicle. These are one of the few videos of people who were taken hostage. Many Israelis have no information about their missing loved ones. The government has opened a command center for missing persons. Dozens of families reached out to the center sharing details about their missing family members. But with so many deaths still unaccounted for, officials say the process could take a long time. While the prime focus remains captivity of innocent hostages, Colonel Richardson, who is a geopolitical analyst, says Hamas militants will not kill the hostages. Instead, they will look for options to trade. Listen in.
I think that the Hamas has tipped its hand by saying that they're not going to kill the captives. They said we've got enough Israeli captives, and they've said it's more than Netanyahu thinks. So that makes me think that the number is probably 100 or even more. They said we've got enough Israeli captives to get all of our people back. They want to trade. They want to go into negotiations to get Palestinian security prisoners out of Israeli jails. And I think that we'll see a long and extended negotiation. We've seen these before, but never on this scale. I think that's what's going to happen. They'll keep them alive. I can't say they'll treat them well, but they will keep them alive until they can negotiate and exchange.
Helit Barrel, who is the former director of Israel's National Security Council, also spoke on similar lines and said that Israel's top priority for now is to get the abducted civilians back. She further added that Israeli enforcement will now have to take special precautions to implement security measures. Listen in to what she had to say.
Is dealing with those who were abducted and taken into Gaza, which, as you mentioned, is at least 100 people, the vast majority of which are civilians. Some of them, as I said before, babies, children, elderly. Israel is known to go to very, very great lengths to protect its citizens and bring them back and make sure everybody is safely returned. But this is a kind of challenge that is more complex than anything we've seen because of the numbers, because of the civilian nature of those hostages. And so there will have to be a very carefully crafted idea of how to deal with both returning them back and making sure that we take the steps that we need for our security. It is 100% the responsibility of Hamas and those who back it, that every one of those civilians who have done nothing, who are not combatants in any way, are returned safely, unharmed, untouched, untortured. This will be a hard task for Hamas because of their murderous qualities, but it is absolutely their responsibility, and Israel does not stand alone in this.
But on the other hand, the pain is not just limited to Israel.
Today, President Biden condemned the attacks against Israel, reaffirming the U.S.'s commitment to the Jewish state's security. CBS's Christina Ruffini is at the White House. Christina, good evening.
Good evening, Adriana. The president was told about the attacks early this morning, and senior staff worked through the night. The White House is also pushing back tonight against Republican claims that this attack by Iran-backed terror group Hamas has anything to do with assets that were unfrozen during the recent release of detained Americans from Tehran.
The United States stands with the people of Israel in the face of these terrorist assaults. Israel has the right to defend itself and its people.
Speaking by phone to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, President Biden says America's commitment to Israel's security is unwavering.
This is not a moment for any party hostile to Israel to exploit these attacks to seek advantage. The world is watching.
But domestic political divisions could complicate that commitment.
There is nothing the House can do until they elect a speaker.
Members of Congress, including ousted Speaker Kevin McCarthy, are warning that the lack of a House Speaker will hinder America's ability to respond.
So if we have to come together to deliver some emergency aid to Israel, we don't even have a speaker in place to do that right now.
It's even complicating national security briefings for members of Congress.
Iran is funding Hamas and Hezbollah.
On the campaign trail, Republican candidates seized on a prisoner exchange the White House negotiated in September, which unfroze $6 billion in Iranian assets.
I would not be at all surprised if part of that tremendous wealth that they just accumulated went into all of a sudden watching this level of aggression.
But the White House pushed back hard, saying that not a penny of the money has been spent and that these funds have absolutely nothing to do with the horrific attacks today, and this is not a time to spread disinformation. A senior White House official says it's still too soon to say if Iran was directly involved in this Hamas assault, but that Iran has funded the group in the past. Adriana?
Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is your brother, Quadar of GMS Gulf Coast. And I'd like to start by giving infinite honor and praise to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors are given up to the apostle elders of Great Millstone, men who have labored and suffered in this truth for over 30 plus years, making their lives and their bodies a living sacrifice. Also like to send a shalom to the hopefully elect, the 1/3 of the nation of Israel, which consists of men, women, and children, as well as the elders, bishops, heads of camps, Great Millstone by and large, and last but not least, any of you Akim, not named GMS, but walk in one body, one spirit, and Yahweh Shai, preaching and teaching 100% truth as it is taught to us all by the apostle elders of Great Millstone, with all true faith and sincerity and order to you all. Shalom. Abaratazah, Lord's will. This be edifying. I just want to touch on a few things, give my 2 cents, as they say, and I'm going to close out with a few scriptures here in the book of Jeremiah. As you see there, there's calamity and wars that are going on with the state of Israel. And right on cue, Big Brother, United States of America, is coming to her aid. Big sister, big brother, however you want to put it, is coming to the backing of the state of Israel. And the Lord is using these two undesirable states, the state of Israel and United States of America, to bring forth or usher in, not to just usher in, but use those as catalysts to bring down America. It goes without saying, as you was listening to Joe Biden was speaking, saying that Israel has the right to defend herself. Those are very hypocritical words given the state of that you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans have been in since all your lives of living here, all the generations of living here in America. You've never had the right to defend yourself. But that's neither here nor there. The Lord, like I said, the Lord is bringing vengeance. He's bringing the downfall of America. And he's going to use, as you heard that Joe Biden said that Israel has the right to defend herself. Anyway, I want to read a few scriptures out of the book of Jeremiah. And it says prophecy against Babylon, and this is modern day Babylon. And I'm going to start at the top, and it reads, "The word of the Lord Yahweh spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nations, and publish, and set up a standard. Publish and counsel not, conceal not, Slakia. Say, Babylon is taken, Baal is confounded, and Madrock is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces." And we're getting into that. We're getting to that and semi or into that. All her idols going into Caesar Borgia and Jesus Christ and all the different idols that so-called Americans worship. They've been made mockery of, the true nature of where they, the inception of these pagan gods and idols and whatnot has come to the forefront via the the internet, so you can Google a lot of this information via the internet and find the truth of the images of so-called Jesus Christ. You know, you can Google all of this nowadays. You know what I'm saying, and find the true images, or the depiction rather, of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. You can actually go into the scriptures, and the scriptures will give you the proper depiction of our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. So, you know, they're going through a stage of being broken down utterly. This place, America, and the state of Israel are going through that stage right now. Anyway, I'm going to just jump around. I'm going to read a little bit. It reads, "Declare ye among the nations." Okay, I read that. Verse 3. "For out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both men and beasts." And the Lord is gathering, stirring up the jealousy in these other nations, such as Russia and China, you know, to bring animosity to the West. We see it, we see it brewing up, with the fall of the dollar, or the fall of the dollar, or the replacement of the dollar. That in itself makes a good argument for war, because there will be war ultimately, because of that being one of the tools or the catalysts to war. The dropping of the United States currency. Russia and China and other nations have assumedly created their own, and quote unquote assumedly, because we know behind them are still the banking factors, but nevertheless they have moved away from the dollar. Therefore, sanctions and things of that nature now, sanctions and things of that nature there have not affected these countries. Have not affected China, has not affected Russia, although they feed you this information over here in the U.S. saying that this, that, and the third, Russia is losing the war, Russia's economy is collapsing. But when you go into these alternative news platforms, you find out that not to be the case. So, this place is being confounded. And the people here who live under this rulership in the Western society are simple as hell. Anyway, so that right here where it says, verse 3, "For out of the north there cometh a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate." And when the Lord get through peppering this place with all those intercontinental ballistic missiles, this place is going to be desolate. It's going to be a desert, a big old sandbox, and none shall dwell therein, and nothing's going to live here. No man, at least, no man. It'd be inhabitable, if that's the word. They shall remove, they shall depart, both men and beasts. Verse 4, "In those days and in that time, saith the Lord Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek the Lord Yahweh, their power." Now, this has got to be talking about a future prophecy, because the children of Israel going into the northern kingdom, and the children of Judah, speaking of the southern kingdom, have never been oppressed at the same time. When you go into the captivities of Israel, you'll see that the northern kingdom was taken into captivity first by the Assyrians, and then later the southern kingdom was taken into captivity by the Babylonians during the reign of Nebuchadnezzar. So this has to be talking about a future deal here, and the scriptures speak like that. It goes from past, present, future as you read, So this is speaking about, like it says, in those days and at that time, saith the Lord Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek the Lord Yahweh their power. And you're seeing a lot of the northern nations, northern kingdom rather, coming out of South America, Central America, Mexico, coming to the border of Babylon, aka otherwise known as America. And when you see these Israelite camps, you'll see that they are mixed up, brought together with the northern nation and the southern nation. You'll see so-called Mexicans, Puerto Ricans. They're preaching right along so-called blacks. You know, this is the evidence of in those days. It reads, verse 5, they shall ask the way to Zion, which their faces thitherward, saying, come and let us join ourselves to the Lord Yahweh in our perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. And we've not gotten to that point yet. We're going to that point. That's where we're at that point. They shall ask the way to Zion. And how did they ask the way? By doing the work of the Lord. This is the way back to the Heavenly Father. Everything has been set up through by His Son, Yahweh Shai. My people had been a lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned away on the mountains. They have gone from mountains to mountain to hills. They have forgotten their resting place. And all that found them have devoured them, and their adversaries said, we offend not, because they have sinned against the Lord Yahweh, the habitation of justice, even the Lord Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. And so they think going into these other nations, they haven't offended the Lord because we're going off as a people. We're going off. Anyway, I want to get to the point here. And I'm going to jump all the way to verse, because this is about the state of Israel and the United States. I'm going to jump to 43, and it reads, the king of Babylon had heard the report of them, and his hand waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him, and pangs as of a woman in travail. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the swelling of Jordan unto the habitation of the strong. But I will make them suddenly run away from her. And who is a chosen man that I may appoint over her? For who is like me, and who will appoint me? And who will appoint me the time? And who is that shepherd that will stand before me? Therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh that He had taken against Babylon, and His purpose, that He had purpose against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely He shall make their habitation desolate with them. At the noise of thy taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. So the point is that these little skirmishes with Israel, the state of Israel, is going to draw out America. Just like in any other war that the Americans have found themselves in, and behind. There was always some catalyst or some driveway or some way of them entering into war after them assuring the American people that they will not, enter the war. Going back to Teddy Roosevelt, when he was, during the Second World War. You go Google that and you'll see where he was ensuring the American public, by and large, that America would not enter that war against the Nazis of the Third Reich. But as history has proven, this man has a track record where he makes a way by way of false flags or setting into play events that will undoubtedly lead them, will have them with no other choice but to break that promise to the people, which it was just a false promise in the beginning. That was always the intention of America entering into all wars that she has been involved in and more than likely behind. All right. So the point being, I read all of that. A lot of that didn't need to be read, but the subject matter of this video is that Israel is showing her hand. Could be, a false flag. Could be staged. Who knows? What I'm talking about? Because these people hold the power of the air. What I'm talking about? They control the airwaves. They show you what they want to show you. They show you men out there in Jerusalem walking after a party. What I'm talking about? They show you pictures of so-called stormtroopers of Hamas jumping, and parachuting into a party there in Israel. You have to question a lot of that because where are you getting planes from? Hamas, and Israel is backed by the biggest gangster, United States. How are you able to parachute into a party without being hit by the Iron Dome? All kind of, Israel, the state of Israel has all kinds of defense mechanisms, for that. So, you have to question, the validity of what you're seeing. But nevertheless, like I say, the subject matter is that the least of her, listen, let's read again, verse 45, Jeremiah 50 and 45, which is the point. Like I said, a lot of that I read was not necessary. But this is the point, being that America will be drawn in, as always, just like the Japanese attacking Pearl Harbor. So therefore, Roosevelt has to go back on his word of entering the war. And so shall it be here as well with Israel, as you heard Biden saying, has the right to defend herself. And they will come to the aid. So Israel can do no wrong. And this is the point. Jeremiah 50 and 45, therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh, that he had taken against Babylon, and his purposes, that he purposed against the land of the Chaldeans, which is Babylon, modern day Babylon. Surely, listen to this, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Who is them? Shall draw out Babylon. And when you go back into the Balfour Declaration, and as far as Israel, as far as the nations are concerned, Israel is the youngest. Yes, Israel is the youngest nation, being coming to conception. I think what it was, 1948. Israel is the youngest nation. So it says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he had made their habitation desolate with them. Now let's go real quick. Least of the flock. Let's see. Let's look it up real quick. Also, let's see. Let's see. Surely draw them out the least.
Strong's H 6810. Zaire. Second.
Let's see. Outline of biblical usage. Little, insignificant, young. Yeah. Israel is the youngest nation, the least of the flock. The least of the flock of what? Of these heathen nations that have been set up against the Lord's people. Israel is the least, is the youngest. It says little, insignificant, young, little, insignificant, young. Insignificant mean young, younger, youngest. See, it is the youngest, meaning it is the least shall draw them out. Just like in World War II, the Chinese drew out the Americans on what they call the bombing of Pearl Harbor in December of 1941. After Franklin Roosevelt gave that speech about how America would not enter into that war, into the Second World War, they had already had a scheme, a plan cooked up for him to go back on that. Where it was inevitable that he, hey, I'm gonna have to go back on that. You know what I said, man. They struck American property out in Hawaii. We got to hit them back. We got to hit them back. And here in this soon to be, the beginnings of World War III, here it is, Israel, the youngest of the nations, the least of the flock. America sworn to back them. They get more aid, more money, more kickback than any other nation on planet Earth from America. Has been looked like a staged attack from Hamas on the state of Israel. And you have President Biden standing there saying that they have the right to defend themselves. And they're not going to let political wranglements over here in the U.S. get in the way of them doing their diligence or doing their duty towards Israel, the state of Israel. Because you heard one of those a Republican, or maybe it may have been a Democrat, speaking about how they don't have a Speaker of the House. We can't do anything right now. They're playing you like a harp. The scripture says, let's go back. In Jeremiah 50:45, therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh that he had taken against Babylon. This is what he has taken. This counsel, the Lord's men, did you see on the highways and hedges, beginning with the apostle elders, the heads of camps, bringing forth this word, bringing forth the truth of the scriptures, bringing it in its truest form, breaking it down and giving it to you in clarity, It says, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord Yahweh that he had taken against Babylon and his purposes that he had purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. The youngest of the nations, the most important of the nations, as concerning the Americans, is the state of Israel, shall draw them out once again, just like the Japanese drawed out the Americans in World War II. Lord willing, it was edifying. I'm going to close out by giving infinite honor and praise to the Most High and the Son, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Double honors to the Apostle Elders, Great Millstone. Shalom.